Revealed. How 5 life-changing minutes in the rain with my bodyguard transformed everything. Josh rushed to close up his father's auto repair shop, the fading light barely illuminating the clutter of grease-stained tools around him. Each day felt like a heavy weight pressing down on his shoulders, a weight made up of his family's dreams and the struggle to make them a reality. That afternoon, as dark clouds rolled in, a sense of apathy loomed, mirroring his own frustration. He glanced out the window. The tantalizing promise of the storm felt like a release, a cleansing of the constant pressure building inside him. Just then, rain poured down furiously, beating the pavement and creating small rivers in the cracks. Josh's heart raced, not just from the torrential downpour but from the knot of anxiety tightening in his chest. He always felt the need to protect his family's legacy. His dad fought hard to keep the shop alive, pouring every ounce of sweat and sacrifice into it. What if it all went away? Closing his eyes, he let the sound of raindrops drown out those haunting questions. Suddenly, he felt a presence beside him. It was Miguel, his bodyguard. Typically, he floated in and out of Josh's life like a shadow, silent, looming, a guardian against the world. Today, however, Miguel stepped forward, tossing a rain jacket over Josh's head, pulling him under an awning. Better than getting soaked, he chuckled, though it was a fragile sound against the storm's wrath. For a moment, they stood in silence, rain falling around them like confetti celebrating a fragile moment. Then, Miguel began to share his story, how he struggled to find his footing as a Latino veteran in a society that often tried to define him by his skin. Each word hit Josh like lightning illuminating a dark sky. Here was a man who'd faced adversity head-on, finding strength in vulnerability. As Miguel spoke, Josh felt the cloak of expectation lift ever so slightly, revealing a path he hadn't dared to consider. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. But just as hope flickered in his chest, a familiar face emerged from the shadows of the storm, the past rushing back to grip Josh's heart with icy fingers. It was Mark, a guy from his old neighborhood, his presence like a thunderclap that shattered the moment. Tension crackled between them, ancient biases surfacing like dark waves. Mark taunted with a familiar bravado, igniting a sense of loyalty in Josh that churned uncomfortably against the newfound friendship blossoming with Miguel. Josh stood rooted, a battlefield of emotions waging war inside him. Did he dare to step away from the family loyalties he'd held so dear? In that storm, the helpless whispers of doubt clashed with the fierce hope Miguel had ignited. In his heart, Josh realized that true strength did not simply lie in personal ambition, but in reaching out to elevate others. This moment, this choice, demanded not just a decision, but a reckoning with everything he thought he believed. As the storm raged on, each droplet became a question, an invitation to dig deeper into who he could become. Would Josh find the courage to redefine his path, or would the ghosts of prejudice and familial expectations drag him back into the shadows? As he wrestled with those thoughts, rain continued to pour, a chaotic orchestra accompanying the tumult within. Josh's heart hammered in his chest, caught in the crossfire of his past and present. Mark stood there with that cocky grin, a ghost from days gone by. The rain seemed to thicken the air, crackling with unspoken words.
"Look at you, Josh.
Still trying to play the hero?" Mark sneered. His tone dripped with nostalgia and spite. Miguel shifted slightly beside Josh, his stance protective but relaxed, like a shield ready to absorb the impact. This quiet strength filled Josh with a flicker of resolve. Maybe the storm outside was a mirror to the chaos brewing within him. Maybe it was time to confront the truth instead of running from it. "Yeah, I'm trying," Josh finally replied, surprising himself with the steadiness in his own voice. "And I'm not the same kid you used to know." With that, he stepped forward, breaking the barrier of the awning and stepping into the rain. The cold drops hit him, washing away the lingering fears like a baptism. Mark's expression shifted, surprise overtaking his mockery. You think you can just change? You're still the same. Just hiding behind that pretty face and your fancy bodyguard. Maybe, Josh said, feeling the words power up in him. But I'm done hiding. Not from you. Not from anyone. He glanced back at Miguel, who gave him an encouraging nod. The warmth in the bodyguard's eyes ignited something fierce within him. What's this? A buddy movie? You think he's gonna save you? Mark laughed, but Josh could see the uncertainty flashing behind it. The rain fell harder now, a backdrop to the look of challenge in Josh's eyes. Miguel's voice broke through the simmering tension. It's not about saving anyone. It's about standing together against what tries to pull us apart. The conviction in his tone resonated with Josh, the words tugging at something deep inside. Josh squared his shoulders, feeling the weight of history pressing with less force than before. I don't need to prove anything to you, Mark. I'm carving my own path. Mark scoffed, but the defiance Josh showed must have struck a chord. Fine, stay in your little bubble, but don't come crying back when things get tough. You think everyone will back you up? That fear washed over Josh momentarily, quick as a flash, but the storm breathed life into a flicker of bravery. I'll figure it out, just like my dad did all those years. Mark sneered. Good luck with that. With a flip of his collar, he walked off into the downpour, leaving Josh with a nod of relief and adrenaline. The silence that felt palpable, weighted yet freeing. Josh turned to Miguel, his heart still racing from the confrontation. Did I make a mistake? Miguel shook his head, his eyes serious yet soft. No, you took a stand. That's powerful. You can't change the past, but you can control your future. As the storm raged on, the rain began to ebb, leaving behind fresh air swirling with possibilities. Josh understood now. He could shape his own story. The lingering threats of the past might come clawing back, but he had a new ally by his side, and the courage to face anything. What would it take for Josh to truly embrace this new reality and the uncharted future ahead? As the clouds lightened, so too did his heart. But doubts still lingered. With every breath, he wondered, was he ready to take that leap? Just then, the path ahead began to shimmer with possibility, but with it came a new challenge. A figure loomed in the distance, approaching through the mist.
Who could it be?
And what might they be bringing with them? The figure stepped out of the haze, slowly revealing a face Josh hadn't seen in years. It was Emma, his childhood friend. The last time he'd seen her, she'd been vibrant, full of laughter and hope. Now, as the rain fell around her, she looked different, hollowed out, as if the weight of the world had pressed down on her shoulders. Josh? Her voice trembled above the drizzle, as if she was unsure if he really was there or just a figment of her imagination. Emma? He could hardly believe his eyes. Memories flooded back, the two of them climbing trees, sharing dreams, and vowing to take on the world together. Well, what are you doing here? She took a hesitant step forward, a mixture of relief and anxiety washing over her features.
I heard something about you and Mark.
I thought maybe I could help. His heart skipped. Help? Could they really be in a position to help each other after all these years apart? Yet, a flicker of doubt crept in. Could she be risking everything by stepping into the storm? Help, Josh repeated, the word tasting foreign on his tongue. Like when we used to sneak out at night for ice cream. He tried to lighten the mood, but a shadow of seriousness clouded her face. Emma shook her head, rain cascading down her cheeks like unspilled tears. No, Josh, this is different. They've gotten worse. Mark isn't just some bully anymore. He's involved in some pretty dangerous stuff. It's not just high school drama. A chill ran down his spine. He thought of Miguel standing resolutely next to him, a bastion of strength. I'm not scared of Mark, he said, trying to sound braver than he felt. He has people behind him. Bad people, Emma continued, her voice thick with urgency. If he knows you're serious about breaking away, he won't back down without a fight. I've seen what he can do. Josh felt the ground shift beneath him. Her words sunk and like stones tossed into water, rippling through his mind. "You're serious," he said, his voice quieter now. "This isn't just about me anymore." Emma stepped closer, her eyes searching his for understanding. "It affects everyone. You have to be careful. I came back because I care about you, Josh. I want to help you find a way out." The rain had slowed to a gentle patter as he processed her words. It was one thing to confront his past with Mark, but another entirely to acknowledge how tangled their lives had become. Could he really trust Emma again? Could he bear the weight of both their histories? "I don't know what to do," he confessed, feeling raw and exposed. Before Emma could respond, Miguel, who had remained quietly observant, took a couple of steps forward. "You have to decide, Josh. Are you ready to fight? This is about more than just standing up to Mark. It's about standing up for your future. You can't do it alone." The intensity of Miguel's gaze pushed against Josh's own fears, igniting a flicker of resolve within him. He had faced Mark once. Could he do it again alongside Emma and Miguel? He wanted to believe in a path forward, but doubt clawed at him once more. Did he have the courage to confront not just Mark, but everything else that lay ahead? Just as he began piecing together his thoughts, the sound of approaching footsteps echoed in the distance, each step a chilling reminder that the fight was far from over. Emma's voice cracked, grounding him in the unsettled moment. "Whatever you decide, I'll be with you." As the darkness deepened around them, he took a deep breath, feeling the weight of choice heavy in his chest. Was this the moment he took a stand for himself, for Emma? Or would he let the shadows consume him again? Questions lingered in the air, just waiting for him to choose a direction. What would that choice mean for all of them? The footsteps grew louder, each thud against the wet pavement a reminder of the urgency of the situation. Josh's heart raced as he spun around, instinctively seeking a way out. He was caught between his childhood memories with Emma and the very real threat looming behind him. It felt surreal, as if the universe was pressing in on him, demanding he make a choice, one that could ripple through his life and Emma's too. "Who's coming?" Emma asked, the tension evident in her voice. "I don't know," Josh replied, his mind racing. "Mark's goons? Or is it just people out in the rain?" He turned back to Miguel, who stood vigilant, his posture ready for confrontation. "Whatever it is, we can't stick around to find out," Miguel said, glancing back towards the direction of the footsteps. "We need to move." Josh felt the weight of Emma's hand as she reached out, lightly grasping his arm. "We can't run away, Josh. We have to face this together," she said, her eyes holding a fierce determination. Something flickered inside him, an ember of bravery igniting. "Together," he repeated, tasting the word. Together. It had been so long since they had faced any challenge jointly, and the thought sent an electric charge through him. But was he ready? Did that bravery stretch beyond mere words, into action? As the figure emerged from the shadows, Josh squinted through the rain. It wasn't he whom he feared. It was Natalie, her face illuminated by the soft glow of a nearby street lamp. She moved towards them, her body language radiating worry and confusion. "What are you doing here?" Josh asked, surprised to see her. "I was looking for you," she exclaimed, shaking droplets from her hair. "Everyone knows something has gone down with Mark, and I couldn't just sit back. I had to find you." Her voice trailed off as she took in the scene. Emma and Miguel were tense, and Josh felt a rush of protectiveness flood through him. "This isn't safe for you, Nat. You need to go home." "And leave you? No way." She stepped forward, fierce and unapologetic. "You're in the middle of something big. You can't handle this all alone." Josh's chest tightened. The last thing he wanted was to drag any of them into this mess, yet here they were, a small army standing against the chaos. A flicker of hope crept into the corner of his heart, but it was quickly overshadowed by doubt. "What's the plan?" Emma asked, her eyes darting between Josh and Natalie, demanding direction. For a moment, silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken choices. With each breath he took, he felt the weight of their belief in him pressing down, almost suffocating. They were looking to him not just for decisions but for leadership, something he hadn't felt capable of being. He swallowed hard. We confront him. We find Mark and make it clear that this is over. He can't control us anymore. Natalie nodded, determination lighting her gaze. I'm with you, she said firmly, and Miguel moved closer, the strength of his presence grounding Josh. But Emma hesitated. That's a huge risk, Josh. If we go after him, and he has got his crew, her voice trailed off, and Josh could see the doubt flickering in her eyes. He was just a kid standing in the rain, burdened by the weight of expectations. Yet, somewhere deep within, a fire surged. If they didn't stand up now, would they ever find the chance again? Whatever happens, I'm with you. Too, he said, the words finally spilling out, full of resolve. Together. As they prepared to move, the footsteps began to fade into the distance, leaving behind an unsettling quiet that filled the air. But could they really push forward knowing Mark was out there, waiting for the right moment to strike? Josh knew they had to take that leap, but could they really handle whatever was coming next? As uncertainty overshadowed their resolve, he took a step closer to the future, aware that their next decision would define everything. Would they face the storm hand in hand, or would fear once again drive them apart? The answer loomed just ahead, waiting for the right moment to unfold. The rain beat down harder as they stepped cautiously into the night. Josh could feel the energy shifting around them, an electric pulse that raced through the group. Each of them had made a decision, and now it was time to act. Let's stay close, Miguel said, his eyes scanning the street for any signs of trouble. He positioned himself protectively in front of Emma, who tightened her grip on the strap of her backpack, her expression a mix of fear and determination. Josh's heart thudded in his chest. Moving forward felt like walking on a tightrope, but he couldn't back down. We'll take the shortcut through the park, he said, aiming for confidence. It'll cut some time off our journey. You think that's a good idea? Natalie questioned, worry lacing her voice. What if Mark's waiting there? Josh shrugged, trying to mask his own fear. We can't stand here forever. We have to make a move. As they hurried through the dimly lit streets, the shadows danced menacingly around them. The wet pavement glistened, mirroring the growing anxiety in Josh's mind. Every sound felt amplified, the rush of wind, the distant honking of a car, even the soft patter of rain against the leaves overhead. Do you really think confronting Mark will change anything? Emma asked, her voice barely breaking above the sounds of the night. Josh paused, the question hanging heavy in the air. Did he really believe that? I don't know, he confessed. But what's the alternative? Living in fear of him forever? But what if he doesn't back down? She edged closer, her dark eyes searching his, looking for answers he wasn't sure he had. I can't let him control us, Emma. We have to show him that we're stronger, he said, the words tumbling out with conviction. They slipped into the park, the trees looming overhead like silent witnesses to their resolve. A few steps in, Miguel signaled them to stop. I think I heard something, he whispered. His eyes darted around, muscles coiled like a spring, ready for action. Maybe it was just the wind, Natalie began, but Miguel shook his head, and silence fell over them like a heavy blanket. Stay alert, he warned, taking point once more. Josh felt the tension in the group rising. They were all vulnerable, yet here they stood, people who had meant more to him than anyone else for years, united in this precarious moment. The park was quiet, but the anxiety buzzed beneath the surface. As they pressed forward, Josh's mind raced with conflicting thoughts. The shared memories, laughter, and late-night secrets suddenly collided with the grim reality of the danger they faced. What if this was their last night together? Suddenly, a sharp rustle broke through the stillness. They tensed, hearts pounding, eyes wide with terror. Who's there? Josh called out, trying to mask the quaver in his voice. A figure stepped from behind a nearby tree, and their collective breath hitched. The silhouette was unmistakable.
Mark.
Thought I'd find you here, Mark smirked, his voice smooth like ice. Did you really think you could escape me? Josh's gut twisted. This was the moment he had dreaded, yet it was the moment he had been waiting for. Josh took a step forward, a jolt of bravery igniting against the rising tide of fear. This ends tonight. Mark's expression shifted, amusement replaced by something darker. You really think you can talk to me like that? You're in way over your head. Behind him, he could sense Emma and Natalie tensing, fists clenching. Miguel was ready for a fight. In that moment, Josh understood. They were fighting not just for now, but for their future, their freedom. And the gravity of that realization hit hard. This wasn't just about confronting a bully. It was about reclaiming their lives. Josh inhaled deeply, readying himself for whatever came next. Would they find the strength to face Mark together, or would fear close in on them? Mark stepped closer, the grin widening, and all Josh could think was, it was time to take a stand. What was going to happen when the bravest decision of their lives was finally put to the test? Step back, Josh. You don't know what you're doing, Mark said, his voice low and dangerous. He looked at each of them, his gaze lingering on Emma, as if relishing in the fear he was stirring. Watch me. Josh shot back, newfound determination flashing in his eyes. He could feel Miguel shift beside him, ready to spring into action, while Natalie had pulled Emma protectively closer. No one has to get hurt tonight, Mark continued, amusement lingering at the corners of his lips. You could still walk away just like last time. No need to escalate this. Escalate. The word hit Josh like a punch to the gut. They had played Mark's game for too long. No more. Why should we believe you? Josh challenged, his own voice steadier than he felt. We know what you're capable of. You don't intimidate us anymore. A dark look crossed Mark's face, and for a moment, Josh thought he might actually back down. Then Mark laughed, a chilling sound that echoed in the empty park. Intimidate? You've got no idea what I'm really capable of. The air around them thickened, heavy with tension. The droplets of rain fell like tiny daggers, sharp and stinging. Josh took a deep breath, grounding himself with the electricity in the air. He glanced at his friends. He needed to rally them now. Together, he whispered, barely audible, but the words seemed to reverberate. Despite their fear, they nodded in unison, a flicker of unity igniting amidst the brewing storm. Just a bunch of kids playing tough, Mark scoffed, stepping closer, eyes narrowing. This ISNTA game, and you're going to find that out the hard way. I'd rather find out my own way than keep living in your shadow. Josh shouted, pushing through the fear like it was a wall. We're not scared of you anymore. Mark's surprise registered for only a fraction of a second before it morphed into anger. Lightning split the sky, illuminating Mark's face, casting menacing shadows that twisted his features. You think you can stand against me? In that moment, Miguel charged forward, fists clenched. You don't scare us, he shouted, bravery fueling his movement. Emma stepped beside him, her chin raised defiantly. We stand together, Natalie added, her voice trembling but fierce. The ground felt shaky beneath them as confrontation surged. Josh felt the adrenaline coursing through his veins, to push forward or hold back. It was a decision that weighed heavy. Mark bristled, realizing the power of their numbers, the strength behind their united front. You're making a terrible mistake, he warned, but the uncertainty was palpable. Maybe, Josh replied, determination igniting a fire in his chest. But it's our mistake to make. A silence fell. The rain continued to pelt down, creating a symphony of chaos around them. For the first time, it felt like control had shifted. Maybe they could pave a new path, one that didn't lead back to fear. Then, a flicker of movement caught Josh's eye from the side. He turned, heart racing. What was that? Before he could process it, a group of shadowy figures emerged from the darkness, surrounding them. Josh felt the ground slip beneath him. Panic surged anew. Mark, he began, uncertain as this new threat presented itself, threatening to pull them all back into a familiar nightmare. Looks like you're in deeper than you thought, Mark whispered, a smirk curling his lips. Shall we find out how strong you really are? In that moment, everything changed. Would they face this new danger together, or would fear chain them once again? All Josh could do was stare into the darkness, heart pounding. The night was only beginning, and the real battle was unfolding. The shadows shifted closer, and the air crackled with a mix of dread and adrenaline. Josh's heart pounded in his chest like a drum signaling battle. He scanned the perimeter, noting the dark figures looming menacingly around them. It was as if the night itself had come alive, eager to snatch away their moment of bravery. Miguel stepped in front of Josh, eyes blazing with defiance. "We're not afraid of you," he shouted, and the echo of his words sent ripples through the group. Emma and Natalie stood steadfast beside him, their expressions a blend of fear and grit. "Isn't that cute?" Marcus' voice dripped with mockery as he gestured toward his companions, who shifted into better view, familiar faces tangled in the web of their past. This is a reunion, after all. It was as if a fog had rolled in, thickening the air, obscuring memories Josh desperately tried to forget. As the figures stepped into the rain-soaked light, recognition hit him like a punch. They were part of Mark's crew, the exact people who had tormented them before, who had pulled them into a whirlwind of chaos. Nation, his heart quickened. "Alex, Jenna, I should be known you'd come crawling back," Josh spat, trying to steady his breathing. He felt a surge of protectiveness wash over him, a fierce determination to shield his friends from the very darkness they had escaped. Josh, your memory serves you well," Alex crooned, tilting his head with a wicked grin. "But you're not the brave little boy you once were, are you? What's this? A hero's stand?" A flurry of emotions surged within Josh: anger, fear, but also a flicker of hope. "We're stronger now," he asserted, settling into the warmth of camaraderie that surrounded him. "You don't intimidate us." "Let us see how strong that is," Jenna sneered, cracking her knuckles. She seemed to glide forward, the rain glistening off her shoulders, a predator approaching its prey. Josh glanced at his friends, finding nothing but unwavering resolve in their eyes. The gritty atmosphere ignited something inside him. They were no longer just kids fighting against the fear that had shadowed them for too long. "Ready?" Miguel whispered, his eyes alive with anticipation. "When I say go," Josh replied, voice steady. "We move together." "Always," came Natalie's fierce affirmation as Emma clutched her hand tighter, a pillar of support amidst uncertainty. Mark stepped aside slightly, making room for his allies, the arrogance still flickering at the corners of his mouth. "Foolish," he taunted. "You can't possibly believe you can win." "Watch us," Josh breathed, heart racing.
Go,
Josh shouted, and they lurched forward as one. Each step felt heavy yet liberating, a rush against the tide of confrontation. As the distance closed, Josh felt a swell in his chest. Would they finally break free of the cycle of fear? Would this fight define them, or would it become another chapter in their story of survival? The shadows lunged at them, but he and his friends were no longer shackled by doubt. They had found their strength in each other's resolve, a revolutionary force aimed at reclaiming their lives. But as they clashed, the echo of laughter broke through the air, a chilling sound that brought with it promise of more chaos. What had they awakened in the night? And could they withstand the storm? Those thoughts collided with their reality, and at that moment, the rain felt less like a barrier and more like a baptism, washing away the remnants of their past. As the fight unfolded around them, all Josh could think was, when would the true horror reveal itself? And were they truly ready for what awaited them? The chaos erupted like thunder. Shadows became blurred figures, fists flew with a desperate urgency, and Josh felt the heat of adrenaline course through him. He couldn't think about the past. He could only focus on what was right in front of him. Miguel was at his side, striking with finesse and determination, while Emma and Natalie deftly maneuvered around the enemy, their movements fused with instinct and teamwork. Jenna's punch landed hard against Miguel, sending him staggering back, yet his resolve never wavered. He shook it off like a gnat and charged again, meeting Jenna with equal ferocity. Fear transformed into raw focus. The familiar pressure of being hunted now shifted to the thrill of being the hunter.
keep moving,
Josh shouted, trying to guide them through the storm of fists and jibes. Every swing and dodge felt like a step toward greater empowerment, glimmers of hope shining amid the downpour. Emma scooped up a fallen branch, wielding it like a sword, fearlessness radiating from her.
Yeah, take that.
She swung wildly, connecting with one of Mark's crew, who collapsed in surprise. That sense of victory, small but potent, ignited a fire within her. But amidst the fleeting victories, the laughter persisted, growing louder and more sinister. It echoed in Josh's ears, a taunt that knotted his stomach. Where once there had been just Mark and his crew, now the shadows morphed into something much worse, a sense of something darker lurking just beyond the melee. "Foolish children," Mark shouted, his voice cutting through the rain like a knife. "You don't think this is all there is, do you?" Josh glanced back just in time to see the familiar shimmer of something, the glints of weapons flashing in the sporadic burst of light. Panic shot through him. This was no longer just a brawl, it was beginning to feel like an ambush.
"Josh!"
Emma yelled, bringing him back to focus just in time to avoid a blow aimed straight at his head. He ducked, countering with a swing of his own, pushing through the fog of fear and locking eyes with his friends. "This ends tonight," Josh yelled, rallying them like a general before an important fight. They were tired, soaked, but if they failed now, they wouldn't just lose the battle. They would lose what they built together, their newfound strength and unity. In that moment, the rain transformed, no longer just a soggy barrier, but a cleansing flood that invigorated their spirits. Instead of splashes of uncertainty, each droplet felt like a baptism, washing over the fears of the past, igniting a fight that was both primal and liberating. Together, they pressed forward, charging into the fray, moving like a wave. It was exhilarating, terrifying, and freeing all at once. But the laughter continued, weaving through their battle cries, a reminder that the fight may be deeper than they anticipated. As they regained control, the shadows loomed larger, ominous figures circling them. Jabs and swings erupted, but this time, it felt raw and real under the storm. The eeriness of Mark's crew was apparent, their smirks now replaced with a glint of purpose. The fight felt like slower music building to an ominous crescendo. Just as Josh thought they might turn the tide, a loud crash interrupted the atmosphere, accompanied by the sharp sounds of sirens in the distance. "Time's running out," Miguel shouted, eyes wide with alarm. "Stick together," Josh called back, desperation creeping into his voice, but in that fleeting moment of unity, he felt something shift. The tension in the air thickened, coiling tightly around them like a serpent. What lay ahead wasn't just physical defeat. It was something invisible and malicious, hovering right above their heads. Would they escape unscathed, or had they unknowingly stirred something much worse than they could ever imagine? As shadows danced in the rain, Josh's heart sank with a chilling realization. Whatever they had awakened tonight, was it ready to confront them? The crash echoed like thunder, cutting through the chaos. Josh's heart raced. The sirens grew closer, their wailing piercing the night air, merging into the frantic rhythm of their fight. It felt like time slowed down. He scanned the faces of his friends, fear mirrored in their expressions, but also a spark of determination. They had come too far to back down now. "Stay together. We can do this," he yelled, voice hoarse but steady. But just as he spoke, the glinting weapons Jeremy had spotted earlier emerged fully from the shadows. A group of masked figures stepped into view, their intentions almost palpable in the air around them. Each weapon gleamed under the storm's light, and with each step they took, the tension grew thicker.
"Who are these people?"
Natalie gasped, her voice barely rising above the din. "Does it matter?" Josh replied, clenching his fists. "We just need to keep fighting." Miguel nodded sharply, pulling Natalie and Emma closer, forming a tighter barrier. "The police are coming," he shouted, needling urgency into their actions. "We just have to hold them off until what?" Josh snapped, the weight of fear creeping into his words. They didn't even know how many were out there. The masked figures lunged forward, and in that instant, everything erupted again. Josh ducked, weaving through wild swings, the adrenaline blurring the lines of their surroundings. The world narrowed to movement, an ebb and flow of action and reaction. He saw Emma swing that branch again, pushing back another attacker with a fierce cry. But with each fleeting victory, the laughter from Mark's crew grew like a malignant cloud, hanging over them with a menacing presence. Josh's chest tightened with a creeping dread. This wasn't just about a fight anymore. It felt like a twisted game, and they were the pawns. Amid the struggle, the air shifted suddenly, charged with a new energy. Just as he thought they were on the brink of losing form, a flare shot up into the sky from the treeline, illuminating everything with a burst of crimson. It painted the battlefield in strokes of light and shadow, highlighting the chaos around them. "Look," Miguel pointed, breathless. "The flare. That means help is here." Hope ignited within Josh, mixing with a sense of clarity. They needed to last just a little longer. The sirens were now deafening, competing with a shrill laughter that echoed in his mind. But before he could rally his group again, the ground beneath their feet trembled with a new intensity. A mysterious figure stepped through the brambles, looming larger than life. The others retreated, uncertainty creeping into their movements. This wasn't just a person. This was someone better. "Didn't he expect me to show up?" The figure called, voice strikingly familiar. As the rain poured down, cascading off the silhouette, Josh felt a mixture of disbelief and relief flood through him. "No way," he muttered, squinting through the downpour. "It couldn't be." The newcomer raised hands in a placating gesture. "I'm here to help. Just trust me." Josh narrowed his eyes, still holding on to skepticism. Who is this person, and could they really turn the tide? With each passing second, the stakes heightened, but now with an unexpected ally. The rain fell heavier, and shadows danced unpredictably. Was hope a real possibility, or a dangerous illusion? As the figure stepped out of the light, Josh felt the weight of past decisions crashing back. What had they stirred tonight, and could this sudden twist save them, or place them all in deeper danger? The storm was far from over, but his heart pounded with the promise of change. The question loomed, would they be ready to face the revelation that awaited them? The rain slowed to a gentle drizzle, creating rippling reflections on the pavement. Josh's heart hammered in his chest as he struggled to catch his breath, the storm outside mirroring the tempest inside him. Moments ago, the energy had shifted completely. The looming figure before them emerged from the shadows, a mystery wrapped in the downpour. "Max?" Josh said, disbelief coloring his voice. He couldn't believe it was him, their childhood friend, the one who had left town long before this chaos unfolded. Max stood tall, his spirit undeterred, eyes brimming with the courage of 1,000 storms. "Just in time," Max replied, stepping closer, casting a reassuring glance around the group. "I heard about everything that went down, and I couldn't stay away any longer." There was a spark in his voice that ignited renewed hope in Josh's chest. "But how did you even know we needed help?" Emma's voice trembled, disbelief edging into her tone. Max smiled, a breakdown of barriers that felt long overdue. "I've been watching. I couldn't believe how much you all have changed." His gaze swept across Josh, Emma, Natalie, and Miguel. "You're stronger than you realize." As Max's words settled over them like a gentle warmth, the shadows surrounding them hesitated, sensing a shift in energy. Mark's crew shifted uneasily, uncertainty crashing into their arrogance. "Let us show them," Max said with enthusiasm, raising his fists. "They think this is a game, but I'm here to put an end to it." Something inside Josh snapped into focus, cementing a resolve that had felt elusive just moments before. This wasn't just about them anymore. It was about standing together, reclaiming their voices, and taking back control of their lives. "Let us end this," Josh shouted, his voice strong and steady, the words echoing in the silent aftermath of the battle. They formed a circle, bodies aligned in unity around Max together. The world shifted. A surge of power flowed through them, fueling a defiance that blended with adrenaline's raw urgency. It was as if they turned into a single entity, their past, their fears, their shared experiences combined into a force ready to confront whatever lay ahead. The masked figures began moving back, confusion creeping into their demeanor as they were met not with fear, but with unyielding courage. Did they truly misjudge their strength? Mark, watching from the rear, clenched his fists. You're fools. You can never win against me. But doubt flickered across his features, certainty slipping like a shadow in the light.
Fight!
Josh roared, summoning the last remnants of fearlessness. He launched forward, a ripple effect following his lead. Miguel, Emma, Natalie, and Max surged ahead as one, determined souls rising from the ashes of their past. In that moment, every punch thrown, every dodge, every shout merged into a symphony of resilience. They were the storm now, breaching barriers with raw energy. Unseen forces spent years threatening to snuff out their light, yet they found strength in one another, a unity that could not be shattered. As blows were exchanged, laughter turned to solemnity. Mark's face twisted with realization that his mocking reign was crumbling around him.
Step back,
he barked, but there was no turning back from the storm's wrath. As Miguel tackled a foe, Emma swung her branch, dodging another hit, and Max's swift movements broke through the lines. I'll not let anyone take your light, Max shouted as he leapt toward Josh's side. The fight raged on, pulsing with determination as shadows retreated against their collective strength. Shouts of support erupted, fueling a fire that crackled throughout their group. With the air charged, one last surge propelled Josh forward straight to Mark. He faced him head-on, shaking fists clenched like a warrior. This ends here, Mark. You're not the hero of the story. Josh's voice resonated like thunder, wrapping around him like a warrior's cloak. Mark faltered, the bravado shattered, replaced by something darker: fear. Behind them, the sirens grew louder, drawing closer like the promise of safety.
As
hope flickered, Josh felt a reassuring force rise within him. It felt like a light breaking through the storm, illuminating a way forward. This is not the end. Mark spat, moments before turning and retreating, shadows falling away as his crew scattered into the darkness. The fight was over. The rain, once a betraying symphony of chaos, muttered a quiet resolution, cleansing what had been and welcoming a fresh start. Breathless and elated, the friends regrouped, smiles reflecting the triumph in their hearts.
We did it!
Natalie exclaimed, her eyes wide with disbelief and excitement. I couldn't have done it without you guys, Josh said, the tears of relief brimming in his eyes. They stood united, laughter dancing amidst the droplets falling from their hair. With the clouds parting, Josh felt a surge of possibility rush through him, as if every confrontation had peeled back layers of fear, revealing a new beginning. He looked at Max and his friends, their faces glowing with the light of victory. I guess the past doesn't have to define us, Josh said quietly, but the words held a powerful promise within them. They had fought hard and won, not just against their opponents, but for each other, for their futures. As they started to walk toward the park's exit, a quiet tranquility settled amongst them. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, they felt a profound acceptance of who they were and who they could become together. It was time to rebuild, to embrace their stories unfettered by fear. And as the first rays of dawn illuminated the drenched landscape, Josh realized it wasn't just survival. It was a transformative journey towards something beautiful, a life lived in unity, friendship, and the courage to stand firm in the face of the unknown. Now, it's your turn to join the journey. Don't miss what's next. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support the crew. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this epic transformation. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey. Time is ticking. You need to subscribe now. It's the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of lifting each other up.